Okay, so today I'm going to show you how we're going to record high quality audio with these cameras. They shoot really good footage, but they don't record very high quality audio. They do have an internal microphone, but it doesn't work very well. So instead, we're going to use an external microphone. This is a shotgun microphone, and what it tries to do is limit off-axis noise. What that means is that it's only going to try to record whatever is happening directly in front of it. Anything that's happening on the side or behind it, it's going to try to limit the amount of noise that it's recording. Okay, so we have a few pieces of equipment here. We have our camera, obviously. We have an audio preamplifier. We have our microphone. We have a cord to connect the microphone to the preamplifier. We have a pair of headphones and a boom pole. Okay, so let's talk about our preamplifier. What this does is it takes a signal from the microphone and it processes it before it sends it to the camera. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to connect it to the camera. It's got this 1/4-inch screw here which fits into the bottom of the camera. So I'm going to take the preamplifier and just kind of fit it in there and then use this thumb wheel to tighten it. So this actually gives the camera a little bit more of a sturdy base. I think it's a little bit difficult sometimes to hold these tiny cameras still, but with this base it's really helpful. Next thing we need to do is actually plug the preamplifier into the camera so it can send that audio signal. So in order to do that, we have one output over here and we have 3 inputs. So we're going to take this 3.5 millimeter cord and we're going to plug it into our output, and then we're going to open this compartment on the side of our camera and then plug the other end of this cord into that red microphone port. Okay, so then we need to plug in our microphone. We have 3 options. We have left channel, right channel, and stereo. If we recorded just to our left channel, if you were wearing headphones, you would only hear it in your left ear. Same thing with the right channel, but in your right ear. Stereo, you'll hear it in both ears. So we want to record audio to both channels, so we're going to choose stereo. So let's go ahead and power on our microphone. We have 3 options. We have off is the O and the vertical line is on. What we want to use is the top choice. It says 80 hertz. And what that is on, and it's going to eliminate some of the low rumbling noises that we don't want to record, stuff like air conditioners and other appliance noises. Now if we turn on our preamplifier, power switch here, see that light flash green. It's really important before you shoot, obviously, to turn this on, otherwise you're not going to get any audio. And it's really important afterward, too, to turn it off so we can conserve battery. So turn that back on, and a couple of switches here that we need to make sure are always set the same way. Phantom power, we're going to have that off. What phantom power does is it powers a microphone that does not have a battery. Our microphones have batteries, so we want that to stay off instead of on 48 volts. We also want to make sure that we're recording in stereo. So mono would be if we wanted to record just the left channel or just the right channel. And the reason we might do that is because we might be using 2 different microphones together. Since we're only going to be using one microphone, we want to record a stereo signal so that it's both the left and the right channel are coming from that one microphone. Over here we have our left and our right channel. This is how you control the level that they're being recorded at. So this is your volume, your recording volume, these knobs here. You should always try to keep these pretty much at the same level. We don't want to be recording the left channel way up here and the right channel way down here. It doesn't need to be perfect, but get them pretty close. You have a choice to go between low gain and high gain for each channel. We're going to keep it on low. If we had it on high gain, that would just boost the audio signal. We don't need that as long as we're using proper techniques with these microphones, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So we'll keep those on low. And then last thing, let's make sure that this is on record instead of play, because we are going to be recording audio. This is our volume knob for our headphone input. So it's really important every time you're recording audio to monitor it in headphones. It doesn't matter what headphones, anything will do. The reason for that is if we're recording audio and there's wind or something like that and we don't know if it's being recorded, we'll hear it if we're listening in headphones. So if something like this happens, we don't want that. That sounds really bad, so we want to make sure that's not happening. So got some headphones here. We'll plug them in to the headphone jack. Really important that we do the headphone jack, not the monitor in jack. and then we can monitor our audio. So let's flip on our camera. And you may have noticed before that we have this level meter right here. And it's telling us that we have channel 1 and channel 2. This is really useful. We really have to pay attention to this. Channel 1 corresponds to your left channel, and channel 2 corresponds to your right channel. So we want to make sure that these green lines are never jumping up so high that they start to hit red. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. If I boost my recording level all the way up, and then I'm talking, you'll see that it keeps hitting that red line at the end of your meter, keeps appearing in both channels, especially if I get closer to the microphone. So we want to make sure that's not happening. That's called peaking. And if we're peaking, our audio is going to sound kind of messy. It's going to be overmodulated. So we want to avoid that. So we want our audio levels to get pretty close to that red line, to peaking, but we don't want them to peak. So I'm going to turn this way down, my recording volume. And now when I'm talking, you can see that it's getting close to the end there, but it's not hitting that red peaking line. So we're going to get nice, loud audio, but it's going to be clean and it's not going to peak. So when you're doing an interview, it's a good idea to get your levels set up before you begin asking questions. So what you might do is sit your interviewee down, place the microphone where you're going to have it, and then just strike up a conversation. It can be about anything. It could be about what they ate for lunch. It could be about something that has nothing to do with your interview. It could be, saying like, okay, I want to make you comfortable, and here are some of the questions I'm going to ask you. But no matter what it is, just make sure that you're monitoring that audio level and get yourself to a pretty good base volume. You can make adjustments throughout the interview, and you should definitely be paying attention to these levels to make sure that if the person's volume has changed, that you're either turning up your microphone levels or turning them down, depending on what's happening. But if you set them up at the beginning of the interview, you're going to stay in a pretty good zone throughout. So hit record, and now we are recording audio and video. And in the audio, instead of coming from the internal mic, is coming from this external mic. We also want to look at how we can get the best audio given the space that we're recording in and using a boom pole. So the reason we have these boom poles is because we want to get our microphone as close to our interview subject as possible without having the microphone showing in the frame. So they extend. They have two sections where they can extend. If you twist, holding it in your right hand, and then twist this end section away from you, you can extend it. You can lock that off. And there's another section that will extend here too. If you twist at the very end and extend it out. And now you have a really long boom pole that you can hold with two hands, and you can make sure that it stays out of your frame, but you can get it really close to your interview subject. So I don't think I need to have it extended this far. I'm going to close one of the ends, and then you just twist it towards you again to tighten it off. So we can attach our microphones. I'm just going to detach this from my preamplifier real quick. And it's got this adapter here on it. We're just going to screw that into the end of the boom pole. Making sure that's nice and tight. Doesn't need to be tightened to the point where you can't unscrew it, but we just want to make sure that's not spinning all over the place while we're recording. So obviously, this cord is no longer going to reach the stereo input on our preamplifier. So that's why we have these extenders here. Okay, so this cord has one end that's going to plug into our microphone, and another end that's going to go into our preamplifier. It's a huge, unwieldy 20-foot cord. So what we need to do is probably wrap it around our boom pole a couple of times. And that's just going to make sure that when we're holding up our boom pole, it's not sinking down into our frame. The cord's not sinking down. And then I'm going to take this and plug it into, once again, the stereo input. And now we're going to be recording audio from our microphone on a boom pole. So if I'm the boom pole operator, I'm holding the microphone like this throughout the interview while my camera operator, my partner, is doing the camera operation and asking the questions. And what we're aiming for with our boom pole is actually the interview subject's throat. Not the mouth, but the throat is where we're going to get the cleanest audio. So when you're pointing it down, I'm going to try to do this with one hand, point it toward the throat as opposed to toward the mouth. Obviously, it would have to be higher to stay out of frame, but you get the idea. There's situations where you might hold it like this so that the microphone's coming from underneath. That's definitely easier on your arms. Boom pole operators might need a little break throughout the interview, so you might want to let your interview subject know that every once in a while, when there's a natural stopping place, we're going to take a break because it's hard to hold this up for you know, a 30-minute interview or a 10-minute interview even. Okay, so a few other considerations. When we're recording interviews, we want to make sure that we're avoiding loud spaces. We want a really nice quiet room, or if we're doing an outside interview somewhere where there's not a lot of wind noise, there's not a lot of you know, cars driving by. We're trying to minimize all of the noise other than our interview subject's voice. So indoors, that means we got to watch out for refrigerators, air conditioners, any other appliance that's making a loud hum. You'll start to notice these things when you go into rooms, and you'll think, oh, that's a good interview room, or that's, you know, that's not going to work. Outside, again, it's wind, it's cars, it's people talking, it's, you know, anything. Inside and outside, it's doors closing, frequent people walking by. Try to avoid all of that. Find a nice, quiet place. Okay, so let's review what we did today. We are using this preamplifier to record audio to this camera. And the way that we're doing that is first attaching the preamplifier using this 1/4-inch screw to the bottom of the camera. So I'll do that real quick. And then we're going to slide open this compartment on the side of our camera, take this 3.5 millimeter cord and plug it in. And on our preamplifier, let's make sure that it's coming from the output. Then we've attached our microphone to our boom pole by screwing it into the end. And then we attached our microphone to the extender cable. And we'll take the other end of that cable and we'll plug it into our preamplifier into the stereo port. And then we need to turn on our preamplifier. So we have a off-on switch here. And then we'll notice that our levels meter on our camera is picking up the audio from this microphone. We can adjust the level that it's coming in by using these knobs, left channel and right channel. And we can monitor our audio using headphones by plugging them into the phone input. So that's all there is to recording audio using these cameras with these microphones and a boom pole and our preamplifier. Let me know if you have any questions. You can shoot me an email or you can stop by or ask me during class anytime. Thanks for watching.